But times change, and the immigration system has to change with those times.
I thank my colleagues for voting yes on the motion to proceed that will let us debate this very important bill that is critical to the future of our security, our economy, and our society.
There are certainly conditions under which I could end up supporting an immigration bill. We're going to find out in the course of the next 3 weeks whether this becomes a bill that I and others can be comfortable supporting. The contentious parts of it, obviously, are in the categories of benefits and borders.
I was encouraged to hear Speaker Boehner say he plans to pass an immigration bill. A reform bill, he said. But reform is in the eyes of the beholder. It's a relative term. And I hope the Speaker's definition of reform is not written by the Tea Party.
This bill is going to pass the Senate. But as written, this bill will not pass the House. As written, this bill will not pass into law. And if this bill did become law, it would not solve the problem. Indeed, it would make the problem of illegal immigration that we have today worse rather than better.
That, of course, Andrew and Jessica's BFF here, Senator Ted Cruz here. All right, brace yourselves. Washington may, I'm not saying getting something done, but they're actually moving forward on something. The outlook for a major immigration overhaul is a little brightened after the Senate voted on Tuesday to begin debate here on historic legislation. Just for a sidebar, how pathetic is it that beginning debate on legislation is an accomplishment at this point? Anyway, by a vote of 82 to 15, the Senate cleared the way for the long-anticipated debate here that could go all the way through the end of the month. Now, the plan would impose the toughest border security measures in American history. It would require employers to check the legal status of every worker. It would create new visa programs for both high and low-skilled workers, and it would create a path to citizenship for the approximately 11 million undocumented immigrants living in the states. Now, under this plan, the path to citizenship would be a long one. Applicants, as I said, they'd have to pay taxes as well as a penalty. They'd have to learn English. They'd have to go to the back of the line behind applicants who entered the country legally. The average wait, 13 years. So this is hardly knock on the door here and get your passport, okay? Many Americans in the House, many Republicans, excuse me, in the House, they oppose the reform plans, and they still call them, after all the conditions I gave you, as an amnesty program, which would make it a tough sell when it comes to Democrats. But Speaker Boehner says he is confident that a compromise will get signed into law by the end of the year. Okay. Now, for more on this, we brought in Jacki Esposito. She's the Director of Immigration Advocacy for the New York Immigration Coalition, and Andrew spoke to her earlier today.
Jacki, 80-plus votes in the Senate to start debate on immigration reform. That number surprised a lot of people. What's your reaction?
Well, we're thrilled to see the bipartisan support for the bill. And we're excited for what the next few weeks will bring as we head to the Senate floor and finally get this bill passed out of the Senate.
At the same time, though, we got a vote in the House basically trying to roll back President Obama's executive order on the DREAM Act and restart deportations for Dreamers. It's kind of a good news, bad news situation from Capitol Hill these days, isn't it?
Well, the vote on the King Amendment last week was really political posturing. The amendment to the appropriations bill has no real chance of passing. And it's a last-ditch effort to try to roll back the incredible progress and momentum for immigration reform this year. So, while it was disheartening to see some members of our New York delegation vote in favor of that amendment, we're confident that that's not going to affect the lives of Dreamers in New York State.
But the problem, Jacki, is that no matter what happens in the Senate, it's still going to have to get passed in the House if anything is actually going to get to the president's desk for his signature. And I'm curious if that means watering down the Senate bill, as some in the Senate have said, either on the DREAM Act or border security or delayed citizenship or health care for those seeking citizenship status. Would you be okay with sort of watering down an immigration bill to get something passed?
We can't water down this bill any more than it has been. It's already a compromise. It's a good compromise. And now, we're really looking towards Senator Schumer and the rest of the Gang of Eight to stand up and defend the bill that they drafted. This is their moment to shine, and we're confident that they're going to.
So is the goal still here to try to get all of the undocumented in the country covered under the current bill, or just to get as many covered now and hope to, clean up and come back for the rest later on?
No, well, we think this is our one shot. We don't want to leave anybody behind. We're already concerned that some folks will be left behind in this bill because it sets an arbitrary cutoff date of December 2011. Anybody in the country after 2011 is out of luck. We don't think that makes sense. We don't think that that's a comprehensive solution. And it's one of the things that we have vowed to fight for as the bill proceeds through both chambers. But certainly we have to get all 11 million covered and protected this time around, because we may not have an opportunity again.
Jacki, what's your biggest worry, either with the process with the bill in the Senate right now or with the overall push for immigration reform?
Well, I think the biggest worry is that politics will win out over what the country needs. What we don't want to have happen is have our leaders in Washington lose sight of the fact that these are people's lives. This isn't just about policy. This is about our neighbors, our colleagues, our friends. It's about their parents. We want to help the people who are living in this country lead productive lives. We want to help people keep their families together. We want to get the economy back on track. These are real life issues, and we don't want to have politics take over the way that frankly, politics have taken over in the past.
President Obama spoke on immigration reform again yesterday. Immediately, some people wondered if maybe he should have stayed out of the spotlight on this because of the political animosity towards the president. Are you heartened, disappointed, worried when you hear the president talking immigration?
No, we certainly want the president to lean into this issue. We need the president to show leadership and to stand with immigrant families, as he has been, to get this bill to his desk so that he can sign it.
My takeaway from that conversation you had with was immigration advocates, they see a light at the end of the tunnel. And where they normally would go apoplectic on the other side they want this thing to happen. It's kind of like the White House is staying out of the way. They don't want to, they think this is the best opportunity to get something done, and people are biting their lips when they want to jump ugly with the other side because this thing's so tenuous.
I think that's a perfect way to describe it, that they're biting their lips on this, because obviously they're not getting everything that they want. 13 years on a wait for citizenship is ridiculous, and with the DREAM Act now somewhat threatened by the vote in the House, that could be a deal breaker in another time or on another place. I think the goal is to get as many people into the country as they can, legal as they can, and then come back for the rest later on, assuming that public opinion keeps going in their way.
Remember, I think people forget the plan then President Bush tried to put forward here. Got Democrat support but not support with his own party. Almost identical to this, without as long a wait period and everything else. So the idea that this doesn't have some bipartisan support, certainly history says otherwise. We're going to see how this thing happened. And remember under President Reagan what he did. So we shall see. All right, Andrew, thank you. Now, when we come back, we will take a look at the idea of leadership in the face of deep division. It's been 50 years since then President John Kennedy made his landmark civil rights speech. And the question is not just celebrating an anniversary for an important address, but what kind of a practical leadership can you expect from any president right now with as stratified an American public as we have? We're going to get into that after this.